I want to talk to you about triggers because I was sitting having juice this morning, realizing that I was looking at how to talk more about the need for reactive realities. And as I was sitting there, I was like, that's what a trigger is. A trigger is the need for a reactive reality. So you guys, the last 4 days, I have been with every single trigger energy, which I've now identified as need. So this is something I want you guys to look at as I'm talking about this. I have been, it'll occur, it'll be triggered by something, which honestly, I've been a walking trigger for the last 2 years. It would occur and I would ask, are you the need for a reactive reality? I would get yes. And then I would pock and pod all the needs of reactive reality, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. And I've been running clearing loops too. So those are coming next week in the calls that I'm doing. But I literally woke up light and happy today. That sounds so simple. And I feel a little silly admitting it because somewhere I bought the point of view. I had the presumption that an access facilitator was a happy person, and I haven't been a happy person. And I knew that happiness was just a choice, but I couldn't seem to find access to my choice for happiness. It's been really crazy. And so this morning I woke up and I was like, there was no charge in my world, and I was actually happy. And I got it. I got it in a different way, that clearing out this need to react to anything is the key for me. Is the key. That's the key. You can clear out presumptions, which are the things that are just facts that you can't change. And then you clear out the need to react to anything. And what you have is you. Fuck. So let me give you a quick example. So I actually wasn't triggered at all today until 5 minutes ago. So I thought I would talk about it. So Andres is my partner, and he communicates in the way that he does. And many times he doesn't communicate in the way that I like, or at all. And so anyway, I didn't know he was going to leave the house this morning, and he was getting ready and showering and put his cologne on, and I could tell he was getting ready to leave the house. Well, my preference in communication is to be included in all communications about all things. That's my preference. Okay. For example, if he's going to leave the house, he could sit with me over coffee, which we did this morning. We sat together for an hour and a half, and he could just say, hey, listen, I've kind of got this, and this to take care of. I was looking at leaving this morning and doing it. What do you got? To me, that would be really easy. I'd feel nurtured, supported, cared about, included. All these feelings would emerge. He could go and do whatever he wanted. I don't need him to do what I want him to do. I just feel good about it. But he doesn't do that because he's got the presumption that she's going to be mad if I want to go and do something that is not with her. So it's just a fact in his world that I am going to be mad if he goes and does something. So to avoid what he's decided is reality, and this is what a presumptive reality is. It's a presumption that this is reality. It's just the way it is. I have to work around it. I have to work against it, around it. To work around it, he avoids communication, which actually has been having the opposite effect. I go into the need for a reactive reality around that choice. So this morning, he did the same thing. He's getting all ready, come and kisses me. His point of view is that because he spent all morning with me and he comes and kisses me, that he won't need to communicate about where he's going. Anyway, it's a whole fuck up. So anyway, and almost every time that he's going out of the house, he's also hanging out with his mom. So he's got this whole thing going on, right? And I'm articulating all this because I want you guys to also get that the people in your life have this whole thing going on. Next week I'm doing 3 clearing calls on clearing the reactive realities with your mom, clearing the reactive realities with your family, clearing the reactive realities with your significant other, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the reason I'm separating them is because all 3 of these relationship areas are landmines of shit that people have going on. So he's got all this stuff going on all the time. And it has nothing to do with me. It may have been based on choices I've made, but he's created it and now he's functioning from it. Okay, so that's what people do. We create this stuff inside of ourselves and then we function from it. So he's doing this thing and he's leaving, and I just casually say with no charge, I'm like, you leaving? Because he hasn't told me he's leaving. He goes, yeah, and this and this and this and this. And I say, and you're going to hang out with your mom? And he's like, well, yeah. And then he justifies it. Well, she needs da 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 da. And he's like, well, I really need her. And so he wasn't going to share any of that with me. He was just going to come kiss me and leave the house, which has not been working for me. I actually prefer to have more information. So I ask him this, he says that. And immediately what shows up in my body is that familiar, right? Okay, so all of us have this in some version, right? It's either anger or it's rejection or it's withdrawal or it's taking it personally in some way or whatever that is, whatever that trigger is, okay? So I can perceive that showing up in my world. And instead of acting on it, which I have done many, 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 many times, like, I don't understand why you don't communicate with me. There's no big deal. Why are you hiding? I've done all the confronting things, right? Don't work. Instead of doing that, he left and I addressed the energy in my body. And I said, is this the need for a reactive reality? I got yes. And I said, okay, everything that is times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, pot, buck, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. You guys, I've been working on this really actively for the last 4 days, and the change I'm seeing is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's literally changing things I haven't been able to change in 47 years. And I'm getting that for the first time ever, that the happiness is just a choice thing is finally a possibility for me. So I really want to tell you guys about that and let you guys know that the calls I'm doing next week are to address these places in our life that we have not been able to live untriggered. You know, if I look at the relationship that I've had with my mom, I was able to, we are long distance and we don't talk that much. So I chose to handle the constant bashing of reactive realities together, which was basically that's what my relationship with my mom was like one big cataclysm of reactive realities. To handle that, I moved all the way across the world, left and stopped talking to her. That's what I chose at the time to handle that. And then over time, we could talk on the phone without as much charge, and I kept using the tools. But in all honesty, I kept the distance because to get closer to her meant that she would actively grab my reality and like push me into a trigger, and I wasn't strong enough to be me in the face of that. So what I'm looking at now is like, well, now she doesn't call me. That's a whole other story. But like, if I look at what caused all the difficulty, it was literally like if I look at all my family members, they are a walking, talking need for reactive realities, which is what I learned and what I've been doing. So what's happening is that as we clear these needs, we clear the need for that in all these areas, because I'm finding them everywhere, with money, with business, with my relationship, with my body. Even this morning I was standing, what was I doing? I was filming some just like B-roll footage for reels, right? Like I was just filming myself washing dishes, full body, and, drinking a smoothie. And of course, my body doesn't look like I've judged it should look. It looks like it looks. It's a total gift. But I caught all these judgments. And I instantly went into the need of a reactive reality around that. Like, well, I should do this, but then I'm not going to do it because I don't have time, and I'm going to put my priority on other things. Like my whole world went into the need for a reactive reality about what I was witnessing with my body, based on a presumption that I have about what my body should look like. And man, so I'm just telling you this because it's like they're everywhere. This need for a reactive reality with our body, with our mom, with our significant other, with our family is like insane. So what I'm finding with it is clearing them indiscriminately, generally, And also recognizing the energy when it pops up and clearing in the moment and making another choice is literally changing the future of my life. Andres and I, with the path that we were going down, literally we were like inches away from just me going to the States and him staying here, like breaking up. Because this is the thing about when you don't clear out the need for reactive realities in your life, in your own world, you've very likely already chosen a partner, or you have a family that is functioning from those nonstop. And so there is no way around two universes of the need for reactive realities colliding except for clearing those fuckers and choosing again. I mean, maybe if you're strong enough, you just choose around reaction. And I've been able to do that in some ways, but in other ways, like not at all. Because I wasn't recognizing what the fuck was going on. And, you know, I've been talking about this for 2 years, so you guys have heard all this. I'm looking at distractor implants and projections and expectations and, you know, would an infinite being choose this, and coping and fucking all this shit, right? Pock and potting stuff. Every time it comes up, I've been using all the tools, and I kept getting more and more frustrated and depressed. If I'm honest, depressed. Because I haven't been able to change something that seems so easy for other people to change. I haven't been able to persistently, consistently choose infinite being until now. And having this need cleared out of my world has given me access to more to the choice, guys. That's why I can't stop talking about it. I really need you. I need you to know how fucking essential this is. So not all of you need this change, but for those of you that do, that are in this chat, I want to tell you that the change is here, and I've got 3 calls on it next week. You can do 1, 2, or 3 of them, or you can pick, or you can do the bundle. So go to crystaljoycrawford.com/clarity to go check it out for yourself. And oh man, let's get started.